What's up, Capstone family? This is Ed Drummond coming at you on this Friday, the 13th of 2022. No, just kidding. Hey, so Friday the 13th of May. Interesting week. All kinds of stuff happening. I guess this is like the scary week. Things started out really hot and heavy when it came to the stock market, kind of taking a big old dump early this week and somewhat rebounding here as we end the week, which is great. Things are looking all right. Had a conversation this morning with one of my neighbors, and I don't think he still really knows what I do, which is kind of interesting, kind of embarrassing. He and I don't talk very often, but he was telling me about his business, and he works for a large civic builder. They do schools, and was talking about his business. I was like, "Hey, how's that working out?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, we're still building a lot of schools, lots of school projects." It's like, that's super cool. And he started to, kind of ask me a little bit about what was going on, and I said, "Oh yeah, this and that, whatever." And then he told me about this bubble, this real estate bubble, and I was like, "Nope." So he and I had this conversation, and I think it was one of those where I usually don't like to tell people that they're wrong. But when I'm when the numbers don't speak to a bubble, it's all about the numbers, right? It's not really my opinion. It's just more like the numbers. It's like the interpretation of the numbers. And by the end of the conversation, I think he had, it opened both of our eyes, which was good. For me, it's always interesting when people talk to me about this bubble that's going to happen, and it's like, where's the bubble going to come from? Like, what does that really look like? We're really, really gun shy. Those of us that were through that last market, a lot of us have this anxiety over seeing what a bubble looks like, and that was a flippin' bubble. That was like awful, right? But that's like a once in a lifetime bubble. That's like one of those that's, that ain't going to happen again. Like, what's really going to happen? Some of the economists are talking about maybe a 10 to 15% shift in pricing as we work this thing out. It's not happening today, right? Today, prices are still going up. But maybe in a year or two, maybe we need more inventory, right? As we get more inventory, maybe that'll happen. But they're talking about on a nationwide level. So here in Phoenix, like, what are we really going to see? I don't think we're going to see that much of a downturn at all. Interest rates have to level off. I think right now, it's just a scary, weird time for a lot of people. I talked to my wealth advisor a couple weeks ago, and he really said, "Hey, don't do anything right now. Like, just don't do anything. Everything you look at is probably not a good idea." So there's that. Real estate, in my opinion, looking at the numbers, is where it's at if you have it. If you're going and looking to buy more real estate, you need to do a 1031 exchange. Some of these numbers, they don't look good at all, right? What are you going to get, a 4% return on your investment? 5%, if you're lucky? These bigger buyers are looking for 3%. So how are you going to compete with that? And yeah, maybe it's a way to hedge against inflation. That's always the logic, right? But I don't know. All these people talking about liquid, with inflation at 8.3%. It's like, well, I don't really know what that looks like. It's like this imaginary number. I was asking somebody this week about a calculator. I'd love to see a calculator that I said, and if you have one, please send it to me, because I'd love to be able to figure this out. Let's say you take all your assets, you put them on this line, and then you go, all right, I'm going to calculate against what inflation is doing for the items that can be affected by it. So like liquid. So what is the cash in your bank account? How is that coming down at 8.3%? What does that look like? I don't know. Like, to me, it's almost imaginary. I know what's happening, but is it? No, I don't see it until I see it. So what do we do? What's the play? I don't know. I think owning real estate right now is a great place to be. If you need to sell something right now, I think it's an amazing time to sell if you have an exit. Linda, congratulations, you and Randy, on your sale this week. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So Linda got in, and the process that we do for getting the properties out to these investment buyers, she totally trusted us through this process. The first guy who came in to try to buy the property, after I'd walked it, property needed some work. More work than most of our properties. It was older. It had all kinds of potential issues that we just weren't ready to uncover. So putting any amount of work into it was probably going to be pointless. You spend money on a property like that, you end up spending a lot more. So we thought, let's get this out to some investors. Let's get this out to some institutional buyers. Notably, there are a few that we actually have relationships with that we walk through the process. We know now they're title companies, all of that, because we do quite a few deals with them. And in this case, we first had one investor who I asked, he'd been trying to get properties of ours for months, finally gave him the opportunity. I said, all right, dude, you think you can get it done at that number? Go for it. Open escrow, let's see what happens. Couldn't get it done. His number was so stupid high, he came back to me, he wouldn't even counter. I said, dude, you ain't gonna counter? Ed, we can't make it work. I said, come on, man. Like, I know, that number is crazy. Why would you even offer that? How are you gonna make anything happen out of that number, right? Overzealous. Sometimes that happens. Fortunately, we weren't on the market yet. So it was one of those where it was a gimme. Hey, once that fell out, nobody knew it, right? Nobody has to know, like that, right? Nobody knew that happened. So took it to the institutional buyer who already had an offer in, but they came up at a ridiculous number too, and that's what they do. They start at this number that they think they can get to until we provide them all of our data, which is they want to see interior video, interior pictures, interior this. We send that, we upload it, we get it over to them. They then prepare what they think their number might be, and then they schedule their own walk. Once they do their walk and they walk the property, then the price is relatively locked in. Now, they give you a price that looks really, really, really aggressive up here, and they discount what they think they're going to need to put back into it. In this particular case, there's no way that they're going to be able to get back what they put into this property, because for some it works, for some it doesn't. In this particular case, our client's made out. So super stoked for you. Linda and Randy, congratulations. Thanks for trusting us. They've been with us, management, for a long time. And again, it's sad to see you guys go, but we're not going anywhere. So we'll keep the videos coming, and look forward to connecting with you guys again in the future. Market is what it is right now. Rentals this week were starting to pick up a little bit more than we had. MLS is seeing a lot more inventory, both on the sales and on the rental side, which means that owners are struggling to get that stuff done and figure out what's happening. And again, owners are starting to recognize that this is the time to put things on the market. Kudos to the Turn team here. Kristen, Ethan, Matt had some unsolicited advice and feedback this week from a lot of our potential tenants when he's out showing those properties. As you know, Matt goes out, or maybe you don't, we have two leasing specialists who go out and open the door with every single tenant that's going to see one of our properties, right? They have to see the property. If they don't see the property, chances are that there's going to be they're going to back out at some point, because when people don't see the property when they're applying, it's not a good situation. So we've got it pretty well figured out. Matt went out, showed these properties. Great feedback from these tenants that, hey, compared to other properties they're seeing on the market right now, ours are so much better. So woohoo, that's a good win. Your properties are showing better to these tenants. So that is not one of the reasons why things are just a little bit slower here this week. I think it's just a combination of all these weird things happening. But that being said, we're probably through the days of pushing rental rates that much. I would say that we're going to need to be a little more selective, pull that number back. We need these things to be renting out in 2 to 3 weeks tops. get them off the market. As you know, rentals are what cause, vacancy is what causes us anxiety. Because, if a pipe breaks in a house and there's nobody to hear it, does it really happen? The answer is yes. And then we have to clean it up. And the cleanup is not fun. And yeah, you know that story. Hopefully you don't. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing weekend. This weekend is going to be hot, triple digits. I had to replace an AC last weekend, which was no fun. Thanks to the team here for making it happen and taking care of the tenant. Really doing a great job to making sure that the tenant was taken care of. And, that's what we all want as owners, right? Is for the tenants to stay because they're appreciated and they're taken care of. And thanks to the Capstone team for making that happen. Appreciate you watching. Please let me know if you have any questions about the market, what you should do, structuring ideas around what things look like moving forward. I love those types of conversations. I learn something from every single one of them. And I think, at the end of the day, if there's something I can pass on that I've either seen working for one of our other clients or ourselves or whatever, there's no better place to open that conversation and start with hey, how are we going to do this? Thanks so much. Happy Friday the 13th. See ya.